And we are live. And hello, a warm welcome to each and everyone, those who are watching on our live platforms as well. And those who have been following up on our socials, you can join in. The Zoom link is on the flyer posted. So today is a new Wednesday, and we are bringing you instead of one, instead of two topics, we'll bring you one wonderful topic. Definitely, that's very timely and more fitted in today's ways of uh, like switching your careers or maybe adding to your money making streams or just improving your connections. Definitely. So this is a wonderful topic and will be brought to us by a keynote speaker. I will introduce him with you shortly. So my name is Phil, and I represent Cogent Integrated Business Solutions. They're an IT company based in Detroit, Michigan, and they wanted to give back to the community, and in a ways of sharing knowledge for free, and not just knowledge, but the value and experience of the seasoned professionals that we invite will be yours to take as well, since this is a free webinar. So we believe information is everywhere with the help of the internet, and you can just tap your keyboard and there you can get the information. But definitely, we may have the same information, but the experience, the perspective, is very unique to one another. So it is worth learning, and it's the value that we seek to provide with you with these webinars that we do. And for those who wanted to join in our live and interact with our speaker, please do join in. And it is open, no passwords needed, no reservations needed. You can freely join in and chat or talk with us live. All right. So, okay, wonderful. And we have today a seasoned guest speaker and a keynote speaker who has joined and willingly offered his time and knowledge and experience into this platform, joining us with our initiative of sharing knowledge for free. So, our topic today is about networking unleashed. It is when networking results fall short, it's crucial to examine the underlying methods and follow up strategies. And you truly, this is where you are being asked if you are truly committed to forging the connections needed to achieve your desired outcomes. And with us is actually a renowned with his for his exceptional communication skills and distinguished expertise in the realm of networking, and is the author of the book, which is our title today, Networking Unleashed, and who adeptly transforms into an engaging and financially rewarding experience, and also stands as a leading authority in the field and is highly sought after for his captivating presentations on the subject. And through his extensive repertoire of engagements, he has consistently contributed to the substantial enhancement of corporate profitability. And with us today, we have Michael Foreman, um, also a very renowned public speaker that will be sharing his thoughts with the topic that he chose to share with us today, which is also his book. But before that, hi, Sir Foreman. Yeah, say hello to our audience for today.
Hi, how are we doing today?
Yes. All right then. So thank you, Sir Foreman, for joining us today. It's really wonderful that you have spared your time. Time is very valuable, but definitely it is also worth sharing. And before we go ahead and start our webinar today, can you tell us a little about like your background and how you came to be involved in this field that you are very renowned in?
Well, it's very simple. It goes way back. I'm a military member. I'm a veteran of Desert Storm. Um, in my 20s, I was in the Air Force, and I was faced with the dilemma of having to tell people who were older than I was what to do. And you have to do that very carefully. So that began everything. I was a business owner, owned pizzerias, restaurants, things like that. I was a manager in a mortgage.
Mm.
company. We brought from two loan officers up to 15. We did very well. I was a sales director at a law firm. Um, all of these things, and all of these things took networking to the next level. And really, if you put in communicate instead of networking, it works the same because I feel that after the pandemic, people lost their minds. They forgot how to communicate with one another. Okay, so now every time I go to uh, I speak at a conference or just a company with a certain amount of salespeople. I ask how many 20 somethings are there, or how many 30 somethings are there, because the 20 somethings don't have a clue at what I'm talking about. The 30 somethings have a little idea, 40 somethings they do, but it goes on and on from there.
I see. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit of that information. And has there been an information, inspiration, or something has inspired you to pursue this line of work or pursue this line of expertise, networking?
Well, I've been speaking for about 10 years, but that's on and off with my business or my company. And I just felt that it was time, especially after the pandemic, that it was time that I really go out and help everybody learn how to master the art of communication. Because if you network properly, if you communicate with somebody properly, that will undoubtedly bring up your bottom line almost immediately.
Mm, I see. Alrighty. Well, now we wanted to hear actually about the topic. So, what is within your book, or what is networking unleashed?
Okay, as I said in my book, and available on Amazon, um, everything begins with your eye contact, with your handshake. And I don't mean shake somebody's hand like a dead fish. I mean a good, stern handshake, look them in the eye, introduce yourself, and introduce yourself to a Mr., to Mrs., because common courtesy is the start of everything. Respect is the start of everything. You have to have both of those before you can be really good at networking. And I'm talking about if you uh, go to an office and you see a janitor, you should afford that janitor the same respect that you do the CEO. Well, number one is you don't know who he is, but two, he's a person. He's a person. Okay, so you have to really give that person the same respect. And then you sit down, and it depends on whether or not you go to a one-on-one sales appointment, or it's a networking connection or a networking event, because you handle it slightly differently, but the same. And what I mean is, because there's a time of building the rapport that you have to build up. And if you go in and sit down with somebody, or if you sat down in an office and they're going to come in a minute or two, you have that minute or two to scale the office. Do they have pictures? Do they have a picture of their son, daughter, youth sports, any type of sports, major league sports? How about music, art? You have to find something. And when they come in, don't talk about business. You just have to relate to that person. And most of all, have that person speak, have that person talk. You don't talk. You're not there to talk. You're there to listen. And that's a really big thing that most salespeople forget. They're not there to really hammer in what they're selling. They're there to listen to their client. They can talk about anything, talk about their mother, talk about their children, their grandchildren, whatever, and talk about it. Relate to them on that level. So that's all part of building the rapport. And one thing that I always remember It's an acronym. Um, Form, FORM, family, occupation, recreation, and the M is really just a message of anything you can get hold of. But you can find something, any one of those, to talk about. Now, I come from New York, so everything is really quick. Bam, bam, bam. Tell me what you got. Okay, goodbye. Okay. But now I live in Georgia, and Georgia's a little slower. Okay. It's a little, right? So you just have to be able to sit down with them and take your time and just talk with them. And just remember that you're not there to talk, you're there to listen. If they want to talk about baseball, you talk about baseball. Talk about football, basketball, the music, arts. It's all the same. That's what you talk about. And then you get around to talking business. And you'll see that the more you talk about everything else, the barriers come down and they're more apt to talk with you on that level.
I
How's
see.
that?
Yeah. So that was like it was a great actually like I remember the actual seminars I attended to in terms of like selling. It's you have to first sell yourself before selling what you have. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's something I just remembered a little, but definitely. So are there developments right now? Like, what's the difference of the like the networking like few years back and after pandemic? Like, how did it evolve? Or
This is the number one problem. This telephone, which is 4 years ago, this has the same information as a computer. Okay. So, what you have to do, remember, is to take that phone and put it away and silence it. I don't mean put it on the table and turn it over because it's still there. Your client or prospective client can still see it's still there. You still see the light. You still see everything about it. So you take that, put it in your pocket, silence it, and then start your conversation. You have to let that client or prospective client be the most important person in the world to you at that moment. Okay. So what I'm talking about is being present. Okay. Being present, being just one on one, or I'll go into going what happens when you go to a table at a networking event. That's a little bit different, but still put your phone away. And that I see is the major difference between pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. Because most kids today, kids meaning 20-year-olds, 30 years old, that phone, you say, take that phone away. They're like, oh, you can't take my phone. It's my livelihood. I have to look through Instagram or WhatsApp or anything like that. No, you don't. Okay. This is business, and business doesn't have anything to do with your cell phone. So you put that away and you start your conversation. And most of all, be present and make the other person feel like they're the most important person.
uh, um also there are like sales person or like aiming to be, and like they attended many seminars or workshops already, and then how are they not able still to achieve the results that they are looking for when they're new, like doing networking? So
They're not doing everything that I just said. Okay. So when you first come out as a salesperson, you're really eager. And when you sit down with your first contact, you're eager and you talk. You talk and everything you can think of, you're saying to try to get him to buy. Okay. The one thing you have to remember, especially if you go to a networking event, okay, you're looking to give, not receive. Okay. You can't walk into a networking event and expect to get a client. Okay. That will happen. Okay. But when you sit down with a person, let's say at a networking event, and you get into a conversation with that person, you say, How can I be a great salesperson for you? How can I refer you? How can I recommend to anybody your company, your service, or just you? Okay. And that will take them back just a little bit. They'll say, well, what do you mean? So, well, I don't want to sell you anything. How can I be this way for you? And that usually breaks down a barrier or two. And you have to follow through. You keep it. And when you go to a networking event, you have business cards. Everybody gets a business card. Write down the date, write down the name of the event, and write down something that you spoke about. And I'll get into why when I do my follow up. Okay. But the most important thing for a brand new salesperson is to, you know, go to a networking event. Don't go with somebody. Okay. That's usually a fatal mistake. Okay. They go with, oh, look, I'm going to this networking event. You want to come? Yeah, great. And they hang out together. That's the worst thing. Because if you go to a table of five people and both of you go up to that table, well, now you just split that table in half. Okay. So if you go with somebody, if you have to go with somebody, split up, have them go to the other side of the room, walk up to that table. And when you walk up to that table, don't talk, listen, listen for the conversation. Is it about work? Is it business? Is it about, like I said, baseball? What is it about? And can you offer anything of value? Okay. And if you can't offer anything of value, or if you say, this conversation really isn't good for me, very politely back out. There's no rule to say you have to stay there. Okay. Back out, go to the next table and try it again. Don't, under any circumstances, hand out all your business. Okay. Don't hand them out because that's the worst, believe it or not, the worst thing you can do. I had an event and a guy came up, handed out, there were seven of us at a table, put down all his business cards, and said, "Look, I'll get in touch with each one of you afterwards. But listen, thanks," and he moved on to the next table. We all looked at one another, and we looked at the business card, and we threw the business card out. You shouldn't hand out more than 10 business cards the entire evening. And people say 3 or 4 hours, 10 business cards. What kind of service is that? Well, that means that you're getting to know the person that you're speaking with. And if you did your job correctly, they're going to ask you for your business card. That's how you can really see the difference.
I see. So, you are more on the quality of the network rather than the quantity, or can there be balance within the quantity and quality when you build your network?
There is a balance. There is a balance. Let's say you are at an event and there's some breakout session and you're at a table for 5 or 10 minutes with a certain set of people. Okay, then you can hand out your card to each and every one because you have, let's say, 2 minutes to speak solely about yourself and what you do. So that in that instance, you can give out your business cards. So that hopefully will find a midpoint for not handing out cards or handing out cards. But also don't ever forget your business cards. How many times have you gone to a networking event and you ask somebody, "Oh, that's really great. May I have a business card?" And they said, "Oh, I forgot them in the car. I'm sorry, I don't have it." It's just a negative right away.
I see. Thank you so much for sharing your thought about that. And are there strategies that you use or you employ to maintain and nurture your existing connections?
That all follows into the follow-up segment. Okay. And I can listen, I do an entire breakout session
Oh,
just on follow up because the follow up is so key that if you don't do the follow up correctly, You might as well not even have gone to the event. Okay, so here, one a follow-up strategy. Let's say you've gone to the event and you have 15 business cards and everything is filled out properly. Well, when you get home that evening, don't wait until the next day. Send an email. Thank you for sharing your time with me on such date at such and such an event. I'm glad we spoke about XYZ. I look forward to speaking with you in the future. You're not selling anything. You're just thanking them for their conversation. You send it. Okay. Now, here is the kicker, something that I've been promoting for 10 or 15 years. Send them a handwritten thank you note. Handwritten. Okay. Do this, say the same message. Thank you for sharing about your son. I'm sorry he broke his leg, but we met at such and such date, such and such event, and I really look forward to having a cup of coffee with you. Put your business card in it, mail it to their address. And nothing speaks more than when you receive a piece of mail at your business. When was the last time did anybody receive a piece of mail that wasn't, like a magazine, um, at their business? So that's like, wow, that's pretty good. And so you don't, and you leave that alone for like 2 or 3 days. If you don't get a follow up, if you don't get a call back, if you don't get anything, send them another text, another email. Hey, I just thought we connected. I'd love to share a cup of coffee with you. Does Tuesday or Wednesday work for you? Because I'm open for coffee then. Okay. So generally speaking, you'll either get a positive or negative response. And let's say you don't get anything back at all. You go another 3 days, you say, look, I sent you an email back. 3 days, 4 days ago. I just want to know if you're interested in having a cup of coffee with me. If you are, that's great. I'm available these 2 days. If not, that's okay. I love meeting you. So you take all of your yeses, your positives, and you put them into your calendar and you put everybody's information into your CRM. Because if you don't have a CRM today, a CRM, uh, um, a CRM, it makes you more aware of what you have to do for that day. Okay. So you put all the information in for follow up and everything else. And also, it's a reminder of what you have to do. Um, but it just helps to keep everything organized. And here's the most important thing you can ever think of with networking or communication, it's organization. Your first networking event, oh, that's great. That's wonderful. You take all the business cards, you put it together, you do all your follow ups and everything. Oh, that's great. Well, something I mentioned in my book is that you have to make a networking event a weekly event. You have to get used to it because the first networking event you go to, you're not going to do well. You're just not. Okay. But you get better and better and better every time you do something. Okay. So that first event is good. That second event, it's better, but you've gathered another 15 cards, let's say. So that's 30 people you're going to follow up with. Then the next week, you can go to another one and another 15 or 20 business cards. Now, all of a sudden, you have all this information, and what do you do with it? Well, you have to have the same system with every person. So the first week, it's not so bad. The second week, it gets a little bit more crazy, but it's not so bad. By the third week, you're saying, do I email? Do I call? Do I text? Do I send them a card? Or I'm not sure. So in your CRM, you write down everything you've done and you put it in there for another 3 days. It helps your follow up.
I see. Well, yeah. Thank you. And well, the actual like sending mail, it sounds like traditional, but it's really showing your interest with your personal touch. like yes, it will really be in the like, it will really catch the eye of your connection, definitely. Um, has there been an encounter of yours wherein like a situation where networking efforts then like did not yield the desired results, and how were you able to adapt?
There's plenty of times. There are networking events that I go to, and I really didn't fit, you know, and it was a total loss. But still, I made connections to 15 people that I wouldn't have made before. So I didn't have any true conversations with anybody that dealt with work or business or anything else.
Mhm.
I talked with them about their kids, about everything else, but I still collected their business card, and I still keep in touch with them because here's the key thing with networking. It may have been a bust, okay, but you don't know who that person knows. So they can put you in touch with somebody who is right into your sweet spot. Okay. So when I go as a public speaker. Okay. And I provide keynote speeches, breakout sessions, workshops, one-on-one coaching. And I go there with that in mind. But if I go there and it's really not anybody that has that type of company or that type of conference, that's great. But because, my neighbor is a really big wig in a mortgage industry and he deals with the conferences, and maybe you should talk to him. So I get all his contact information. And I say, look, Joe Smith asked me to give you a call because you deal with this, and this is what I do. So you never know where that interaction will come from.
Mm, I see. Yeah, definitely true. And of course, you did not become this very elite in the profession. So when you started, like, have you experienced like networking anxiety or shyness, something like that? And how were you able to overcome it?
Well, you know, either you're an extrovert or an introvert.
Mm,
Okay. I happen to be an extrovert. Okay. So I can go into anywhere, even though it's not suited for me, and I'll make conversations, I'll make friends, I'll talk with everybody. Okay. So I naturally will be able to do that. But whether I worked with the law firm or the mortgage company or anything else like that, um, you always had networking with communication, um, always trying to master the art of networking without even realizing you're networking.
mm,
Okay. I created two separate networking groups with 30 businesses in each. Um, and every week I spoke to them about networking. And we had a show, okay, where all those businesses put out their wares, sell what they had to sell, and invited whomever. Okay, so and one thing that we had to do, or I had to do, was go around and talk with everybody. So I really didn't have that aha moment. It was just a matter of the way I spoke and the way I spoke with everybody.
understood. And in case, like, do you have some advice if in case like the one the one who wanted to start in the networking area is an introvert? Like, are there minimal steps that they can take or to improve?
An introvert, um, you don't, they'll never leave. They won't go anywhere.
Mhm,
So the only thing I can tell them is to go to a networking event and don't be a flower on the wall. And this is one time I'll say go with somebody. Okay.
mhm,
Otherwise, you may not talk to anybody. Somebody who will introduce you and what you do. Okay, so you walk up, say hi. Well, oh yeah, this is Michael Foreman. He does networking and communication, and how about introduce me?
mhm,
So I would always, and that's a part of. networking also. Okay. You want to be the host, not the guest. Okay. If you go, like I go to the Chamber of Commerce here, and it's a weekly meeting. And if I see that somebody looks new and they don't know what to do, I'll walk up to them. Now, I'm not in official capacity. I'm not part of the management of the chamber, but I'll walk up, introduce myself. Hey, how you doing? What are you doing? Oh, that's your business? Oh, that's great. This is a wonderful chamber. And I just talk and I just talk and talk and talk
Mm.
because they shouldn't feel uncomfortable walking into a networking event, but have them start going to a networking event and talk to a few people. Then the next week, talk to some more. So the biggest, what I'm really trying to say is three words: practice, practice, practice. Okay. It's always the same. You don't get better at anything unless you practice. Okay. You don't go out onto a golf course and say, well, I'm going to score a 72, because you're going to go through 72 balls before you get to the 18th hole. Okay. You've got to practice. You go to the driving range, you go somewhere else, you practice your putting, you practice, practice, practice. And after you practice, you'll see your numbers will get better. You practice in networking events, you'll see that you're getting a client or two or three, and you're following up with them. And you can follow my way of following up with everybody. And then you be that person. Then all of a sudden, they're an introvert going to the networking events, but they're feeling a little bit more confident. Okay, confidence is key. And this is just one of the ways that they will feel more confident, because if you are confident in yourself or what you have to offer, then the other person will see the confidence.
I see. You have to be very sure of what you are bringing and what you will be giving them. So they'll be able to take you in a serious manner. And like I've for sure you've been through a lot. So you have mentioned you've been through a lot of networking meetings and all that events sessions. I mean, so like okay, can you choose one of your most like memorable networking experience? Maybe it's maybe bad or good.
Well, there really aren't any ones that are that awful.
Uh-huh.
Um, but really, the best networking event that I went to was I was at the networking event and I was speaking, look, somebody like I was, and I was
Mhm.
just speaking with them about networking and about my business and what I do and what I offer. He goes, that's very interesting. He goes, I put this whole networking event together. Would you mind if I asked you to come up on stage and just said a few words? Not at all. And I went up and said about 10 minutes.
Mhm.
And afterwards, I had a lot of people come up to me and ask me, and they spoke about my book. And that was probably the best time that I've had.
Wow. So it's like you just introduce a little of yourself, and then everything just went to you without like too much of an effort. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
that doesn't happen very often.
yeah, true.
Okay.
Well, has there been like like in person like events or virtual events are completely different, right? Like, are there ways as well for you to connect to people even if you were just joining virtually on
Yeah, well, last year a few companies had asked me to do a workshop, but they didn't want me to come to them. I travel all over the country,
Mhm.
and I go and I individual companies. Um, but I developed a workshop where they brought me in virtually and they had me up on a big screen. They had people in the classroom, about 40 people. And I did the workshop that way. And it was really very interesting, but I had to change just a few of the ways that I give my my speech,
Mm-hmm.
and ability to have them do what I'm asking them to do. So I prefer to go in person. I
Mm-hmm.
prefer to be there because I like to see and feel exactly what's going on. Um, but that's the way we handle it.
I see. Yes. Okay. For the last part, like, can you measure, or how do you measure the impact of your networking efforts on your overall like career growth?
Well, the only way that I can measure is by the number of clients that I receive. Okay. So now a client that I get is not a small client. It's usually a bigger client. So it takes a little bit longer. My book sales are pretty good because what happens is the owner of the company will order, he has 10 salespeople and 15 support people. He'll order 25 of them and give it to everybody as a guide. Say, here, read this, do these things, keep this as a guide. And then I would probably do a workshop with them or something else. Um, but the way that I can measure is really just by the number of clients or prospective clients that I receive. Now, if you go into my CRM, I have hundreds of people that I follow up with and everything else. So between there and the book and everything else, that's how figure on. That's how I can project and how well I'm going to do.
All right, then. That's wonderful. And yeah, that was really valuable insights that you have shared, and very mastered information. We'd like to check with our audience if they have any questions, or yeah, wanted to add additional, or any queries that you have. Feel free to raise your hand, or you can just mute if you wish to, and share with us your thoughts. Otherwise, you can put it on chat.
I see Sally unmuted herself, but I don't hear anything.
I think she has not joined with the audio, just listening.
I don't
But
know.
yeah, I believe yeah, I provided permission to talk. But yeah. Well, anyhow, you can just put it in chat if there are some issues.
Okay.
And while
Um,
we're waiting, if there are any, uh, yes, we have been talking about your book in the past, like the whole half an hour now. But yeah, we wanted you to promote, and or any upcoming events that you have that people can take advantage or join in virtually, maybe.
well, I don't have an event coming up where everybody's invited.
Mm-hmm.
They're all specific companies and things like that. That the owners had asked me to come in. That's what my book looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it available on Amazon. Um, I don't. No, my events are. I'm going to events, networking events here in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm going as the guest. Um, I'm just hosting a number of companies that have asked me to come in and give a talk. Um, Other than that, it's just a matter of a bunch of conferences. Uh, and I feel that the industries that can use me the most because they really require a lot of networking is the mortgage industry, the real estate, the not federal, the financial, and insurance, because they have the major conferences that require the networking skills, so to speak. But any company or anybody for workshops or coaching on one, I'm more than happy to help.
Alrighty. So for those who are watching right now live, or will be watching this in a recorded version on YouTube, definitely you can send an invite or connection request on Sir Michael Foreman on LinkedIn. So if you wish for to query about his services or anything that he could offer to you in his area of expertise, you could just send a connection invite, just like what I did. So he's very responsive and very willing to spare his time to share what he has to offer. Definitely. So on LinkedIn, just type Michael Foreman or Michael A. Foreman, and you can definitely find him very easily. And
You can go to my
yes, don't.
what you can go to my website. It's michaelaforeman.com and you'll see everything.
All right, so that's the website as well, and yeah, definitely. So I'm afraid that our talk, Zipinar today will be ending a little much earlier because we have some few matters to that are more definitely has the highest importance with our second guests, but definitely our topic today with Sir Mike Foreman is worth learning. It's very compact, and though it's in a short period of time, we have covered a lot, and really the information shared is based on purely experience and mastery. So, and if you want to hear more, you can get in touch with him or uh, check out his book on Amazon. That will help you as well. And yeah, hopefully you will meet him in one of your company's requests in terms of networking workshops. All right. So, anything else you wanted to tell everybody, Sir Michael, and before we end the webinar? Any yeah, final
No,
notes?
just, listen, everybody, the only thing that you really should do is to start. Okay. Start the networking, find out where there are networking events and just go. If the first one you go to, you're just going in because they're free. So you just want to walk in and walk around and see what it's about, then do that and start networking the second one you go to. Okay. So if you're an introvert, extrovert, listen, you're going to go in, you're going to start talking and everything will be fine. Um, but you need to follow a few of the guidelines. That's all.
Alrighty. Well, it was really a pleasure and a great session that you have shared with us, Sir Foreman. And we hope actually that a lot of them would definitely get into your workshop as well and check in your books. I'm sorry. Pardon me for that. All right, so it was a great session, and though we only have one guest speaker today, but it's very informational and like a lot of things that we have learned as well. Though my questions, I hope it was also pretty applicable to those who are watching. But in case you have additional questions, just put it in the comments on YouTube or put it in the comment area on our socials on LinkedIn and Facebook, and then yeah, we'll check with Sir Foreman if we can have those queries answered. All right. So just do let us know. And for those who wishes to do the same, share their time, their knowledge and experience as well, and be a guest speaker, you're very welcome. Just let us know. You can connect with us on LinkedIn and on Facebook. Just type in "Let Us Talk It." So it is spelled as "Let US Talk" and then IT. So feel free to connect with us and yeah, add us on socials. We post our events weekly, and we do these webinars every Wednesday, 12 noon to 1 p.m. So if you have time, you can join in as an attendee or you can join in as a guest speaker. And Sir Foreman, if you wish to attend our next event, we will be posting it as well. So if you get interested, you can really join and yeah, collaborate. So aside from that, thank you so much everyone for joining us for today's webinar. And we're hoping to see you again next Wednesday. So as mentioned earlier, we have our sessions every Wednesday. So we will be bringing two new guest speakers. I hope we can get two, definitely, fully committed. And yeah, we'll bring you two new topics and more exciting interactions. All right. Well, Sir Michael, thank you so much again for this great session. Um, I know much of it is really talked about in your book, but yes, it is just few pointers that will get you hungry for more information about networking. So don't hesitate to send a connection to Mr. Foreman and also check his book. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. Keep safe as always, and we will end the webinar today. And have a great have a great the rest of your day. You take care as always.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.